Hello, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in here today. We're going to have a conversation about dreams and the idea, which you may have heard in many places here on your spiritual journey, that this is a dream. If you have not heard that before, well, welcome to A Course in Miracles, which is bound at some point to challenge your worldview. Mm, that's the point, in fact. So let's lead with the premise that this is a dream. The world that we appear to inhabit is a dream. This that we appear to inhabit is a dream. Therefore, all of the other 8 billion plus of these that we appear to see is a dream. And all of the stuff that we concoct and manipulate and elaborate on and divide and subdivide in this world is a dream. This is a dream. In fact, if you did nothing else today on your spiritual journey, walk, marathon, sprint, whatever it is that you call it, keep in mind this idea that this is a dream. Why is this important? Well, you're on the spiritual path because you have recognized that there's more to it than this, clearly. And you've recognized it more than once, or you certainly would not have been drawn to this channel. We can say that with certainty. There's a reason why you're here watching. And that applies whether you are a student of A Course in Miracles or not, in fact. It is not required that you are a course student in order to benefit very strongly and profitably and powerfully from the message of your inner teacher, who's also our inner teacher, all of ours. This teacher goes by many names. It's part of our mind. It's most commonly referred to in A Course in Miracles as the Holy Spirit, but goes by many names even right here in the Course. We actually do this course with our inner teacher, under the guidance of our inner teacher. And should we choose to apply these teachings, we'll work with this idea that this is a dream again and again and again. So, chapter 18, section 2 is entitled The Basis of the Dream, and it talks about this very subject. Jesus says, does not a world that appears quite real arise in dreams? Paragraph 1. Yeah, the world that arises in our dreams looks, smells, tastes, and feels, sounds real to us. This is a very useful way of looking at it. So the Course takes us through it. The dreams that we have when we are asleep, whether it's a nap or whether we're asleep at night, are very real to us, aren't they? We see things, we hear, taste, touch, and smell and feel things sometimes. And they're quite random. In fact, they're weird from time to time. Sometimes scary, sometimes hot and sexy, right? Sometimes really beautiful. And it alternates and fluctuates, and it's weird. And we wake up in the morning and say, oh man, I had the strangest dream. Yeah. So we don't consider it strange when we wake up from sleep to recognize that the dream was just that, nothing. It never happened. It was a dream. It may have felt real at the time, and it may have violated what we consider to be reality at the time. But when we wake up, it's gone. It's as though it were never there. Guess what? It was not. Same. This is a dream. It is not reality. We have chosen to throw that label on it, reality. Reality. This is me. No, it is not me. Deep down, we all know this. We're all drawn to spirituality, whether it is this course or not. This may be the first and only time you watch this series of videos, though you're invited to stick around for more. Of course, I'm going to say that, but it's true. No matter what, this is very useful. We're all drawn to truth. It's what has us on the spiritual path in the first place. It is. It's what has us doing this in the first place. So, whatever your practice in the world looks like, whether this course is the sole and main practice for you, or whether it's part of something else, or whether this is something that you're just checking out, right? It makes no difference. We're all drawn to truth. We're all drawn to God. Yeah, love, the peace of God. It is like a light, an eternal light that's always on, that we're drawn to. Even if we don't recognize moment to moment that that's what we're drawn to, you're here for a reason. That's the reason. How much progress you're willing to make, and that's a term that we use here in the world, right? How far you're willing to be led is your choice entirely. And indeed, all any of us could do is allow ourselves to be led as far as we're willing to go on a given day. The leader, our inner teacher, who's part of you, by the way. Yeah, yourself, capital S. We're going to, every day, allow ourselves to be led just as far as we're willing to go. Some days that might look quite far indeed, and other days, not so much. And then we get up the next day and we do it all over again. This is not a peaceful dream that we're having, is it? When we see ourselves as an ego, as an individual self-sustaining survival unit, human being with all of the other labels that we heap on top of that, it's a lot. When we see ourselves as separate, we constantly perceive ourselves as under attack. When you side with the ego, separation, this false sense of separation, you always see yourself as under attack. So the dream that we're dreaming right now is full of war. It is. It may or may not be in your home country or nearby, but it's going on. And that is but an extreme version of what's going on inside our mind. Conflict. Think about when we dream at night. Our dreams are random. They express our conflicting wishes. Here's what I mean by that. We appear here to be torn into, and sometimes it feels like torn into billions of little tattered pieces, like we've been ripped and ripped and ripped and ripped and clubbed and ripped again and again, right? This expresses our conflicting wish. We are drawn to truth, to the pull of the Holy Spirit, to God. We're drawn to our reality. We are. We're drawn to this. And at the same time, we've made this dream in our mind, so we want it to be real. Even though we know that deep down it isn't true, we actually want to be the human body. We actually want to be in conflict with one another. We think we're an ego. We want the conflict because we think it's normal. We think it's just part of life. And wars are just one example. Our economic systems are another prominent and huge and in our face example, isn't it? Where we appear to be in competition over illusions like reputation. What's that? It's an idea. I mean, what's money but an idea? We appear to be in competition with each other. It is not a peaceful dream. Understand one thing: mind is the cause. The world that we see and appear to inhabit is the effect, and not the other way around, which the ego would have you believe. Mind, mind is the cause. The world is the effect. This is a course in changing our mind. It's very helpful as we look around at all of this catastrophe to remind ourselves that it is a dream. And that when the catastrophe upsets us, as it's bound to do, that is an opportunity to forgive. Just forgive and release it in your mind. It is not real. Doesn't mean don't operate in the real world. Yeah, operate in the real world, live life, eat, sleep, drink water. If you have a job to go to that job, pay those bills, do life. But you don't have to believe that it is concrete reality. It is not. So, does this take some getting used to? Yes. That, my friends, is what time is for. Give it over to your inner teacher and follow his guidance, its guidance. Learn to relax and trust it. That's part of our work, all of us, each and every one of us. Because these dreams express our deep inner conflict, and they do, as we just talked about, they provide us with a real learning experience. They provide us with a striking example of the ego's inability to tolerate reality. The ego can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. Any movie fans out there? And Jack Nicholson does that better than I do, of course. You see what I'm saying? The ego cannot handle the truth of perfect oneness. It wishes to believe in separation and will do whatever it can. to keep you miserable. You know that perfect oneness is our natural state. The ego doesn't have any idea what that is, but perceives itself as under constant threat. And Jesus tells us here in A Course in Miracles that the ego is right about one thing and one thing only, that you will set it aside. That is only a matter of time. Again, that is what is time. That's what time is for. Yeah, it is. It's for you to awaken. It's for all of us to awaken. How long will that take? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's inevitable because we're all drawn to truth. We all recognize ourselves. We all recognize our self, capital S. So that our dreams give us striking examples of the ego's inability to tolerate reality and, unflatteringly, our own willingness to let the ego run the show, our own willingness to accept the ego's interpretation of life. And not flattering at all, our own willingness to attempt to change reality to suit the ego's desire for separation. We create division and separation all of the time. It's what we do here in the world. And we're doing it thinking that it's going to bring us the peace of God, but the peace of God doesn't do slices and dices and separation. The peace of God is whole, eternal, total. It knows no separation at all. Therefore, there is no separation of any kind, none. A mind that wants to see separation will see separation. A mind that wants to see truth, that wants the peace of God, will see truth. The peace of God. Which do you choose? It is your choice. You are that powerful. You are. You are. And you may not think that that's even accurate at all. That's fine. It's up to you. But you are that powerful. We all are. We can choose. And furthermore, we all know the choice that will make us happy, not on a temporary basis because we got something from somebody. I mean, eternally happy. Because when we get the temporary dopamine hit in the ego world of winning a victory over somebody else, it's always against somebody, versus. Yeah, there's no versus, there's no other. But here in the world where we've made it so, we get these temporary little satisfactions and little dopamine hits and hot, sexy weekends. What happens on Monday morning? The weekend's gone. That hot, sexy bottle of wine, Left Bank Bordeaux, Pauillac, perhaps? Well, it runs out of liquid. It goes bye-bye. Goes bye-bye. Doesn't it? It does. We like to live our lives as though it doesn't, and we wish to pretend that it doesn't, but it does. It's not who we are. Reality is whole, complete, total, and eternal. There is no separation of any kind. This spinning ball of rock, in which there appear to be 8 billion of us, is a dream. It's a dream. What we don't realize as we run amok here is we're actually attacking the world. We're trying our level best, and we're exerting an insane amount of effort sometimes, aren't we, to manipulate and control and to order and navigate and orchestrate all of what we deem to be reality to suit our own personal, individual ego needs. It's what we do here in the world, and we don't realize it until we begin to study something like A Course in Miracles that tells us directly. It spells out not only that this is a dream, but it spells out why it keeps happening. It's our choice. We could choose otherwise. It's very powerful when you allow that to hit you. And maybe it hits you today. That's always the point in offering these teachings. I don't know what's going to register for you on a given day. I simply turn on the camera and the microphone that sits right off camera here and just broadcast. I have no idea what I'm even going to say, pretty much. Although I seem to repeat many ideas over and over again. Wonder why that is. The Course does. Therefore, this pixelated image on your screen is going to appear to utter the same ideas in the hope that today is going to be the day where something hits and it lands for you. When it does, count on the fact that it is the Holy Spirit, your inner teacher, speaking to you, and you would do very, very well indeed to pay attention, close attention, and do as it suggests. That would be very kind of you and very cool. Thank you on behalf of all of us. We just don't realize when we're running around listening to the ego and identifying with it that we're really attacking the world. We're attacking a dream, trying to arrange things in a dream that isn't real in the first place. So no wonder that we don't find what we're seeking in the world out there. It's an inside job. And I invite you to take a look at the very last video that was recorded here. And well, that talks about the inside job idea all the time. You are the answer, by the way, that you're looking for. We go to work on our own mind because we don't see things as they are. This is a dream. That's why enlightenment is also known as awakening, by the way. What looks like a spiritual practice, what looks like a process, and I mean, from time to time, it looks like a long and winding and pothole infested road. I mean, it seems like it's never going to come, but it is. When? I don't know. It's why we call it awakening. This is a dream. We're in the process. You are in the process of waking up from this. Chapter 18, paragraph 4. Unflattering. Dreams are perceptual temper tantrums. We want it so. So we attempt to make it so. We say we want separation. We're throwing a fit like a kid writhing around on the floor because it didn't get a cookie. I mean, maybe you were that kid. Your mom wouldn't buy you the toy at the store that you wanted, this cheap plastic toy that meant everything to you. She said, no. And you threw a fit. Well, we're that kid throwing a fit. We know that the world that we appear to inhabit is not our home, yet we're throwing a fit. I know. We want it so. So we've made it so in our own mind, and we've closed off to truth. Yet truth always is, and it shines through even our firmest illusions. Doesn't it? You're here right now, which tells me unequivocally, with 100% certainty, that you are listening to the voice of our inner teacher. So for that, I thank you and keep listening, please. What does the world need? More people to listen to the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Oh, yeah. When you do, you'll always be instructed to extend love. What happens on the surface of life, the outward result may not be what you initially thought it would be. But when you act with the Holy Spirit as your guide, really and truly, love and peace is the result. It's what we say we want. So let's back that up, shall we? Through direct action, because how we learn is by doing it. That's true of this course, and it's true of all spirituality. It's all about experience, after all, isn't it? I mean, we can study texts and things like the text of the Course in Miracles. We can do the workbook, go through the manual for teachers. We can read commentaries online and read books and listen to podcasts and wild talking heads on YouTube like this. I mean, we can listen to this and do all this. And yeah, there's some value in understanding what's being said with the intellectual thinking mind, but it is nothing compared to the value of practical experience. All spirituality is about experience. It is. The reason this is true is when we put these teachings into practice, our experience demonstrates to us the ideas are true. It shows us. And if you prefer this language, it proves to us. We prove it to ourselves that these teachings are true. So do you doubt them? No problem. Prove the truth of them to yourself. You'll be very glad that you did. So along the way, there is help available. First and foremost, your inner teacher. And here in the wild dream, there are what appear to be other people. I'm certainly one of those. And the comment thread here on YouTube is, in fact, the perfect place to reach out should you have any questions about A Course in Miracles or about spirituality in general. I'm happy to answer them. And if it's going to take a while to type out a lengthy response, what I'll probably do with that is record a standalone video or two or three or however many it takes to address the question. I've done that before and I'm always happy to do so. So please ask any questions here if you've got them. My role is to serve as a guide for you. I'm sharing the Holy Spirit with you. That's what's going on here. So any questions that you may have are most welcome. If you have not yet subscribed and joined us, I would love to have you do that as well. So that's the link in the corner of your screen. Just click that arrow and you'll be invited to join us here. And when you subscribe, you'll see several videos each week. Well, because spirituality is an ongoing practice. It doesn't go anywhere. So there's always something to discuss. Okay, so subscribe, please, if you have not. Questions are most welcome, and I will see you all again very soon. Thank you, as always, for joining me.